So before I really had a relationship with Christ, I would describe myself as someone who was God's employee. I've always just had this mentality that I need to earn people's approval and their love, and that's definitely how I was with God. Like, I grew up going to church. I had an awesome family who does have a relationship with God, but somehow I still had this thought in the back of my mind that God wasn't quite happy with me. Like, I was a pretty, good kid. I got good grades. I never got in trouble. I was obedient to my parents, I guess. And, I thought of myself as a pretty good person. But I just still felt like I wasn't quite good enough for God, and he probably didn't really like me. And so I think that mentality of, needing to earn God's approval, and also the idea that I needed to be a good person, actually led to me being a really self-righteous person. I think that I was mean to other people because I would compare myself to them, and I was like, well, if I have to be this really good person, then you should be trying to be a really good person too. And so it just, it was this lifestyle of me trying to earn approval, not feeling like I was getting it, but wanting everyone else around me to act right too. And so I think I probably just wasn't a very pleasant person to be around, honestly. And I just remember that in college, I did this Bible study with a group of people, and I remember the word grace just, standing out to me hugely. For the first time, I understood what it meant, and what it meant in the context of how I relate to God, that I don't have anything to offer God, that the best I can do still, it really isn't good enough, but that's not what it comes down to with God, that Jesus came and he lived a perfect life that I couldn't live, and he died on the cross for my sin because he knew I couldn't earn it. And he paid that penalty so that when I come to God, God can just be standing there with open arms, ready to receive me and love me. The literal definition of the word grace means unmerited favor. So it's this good thing that you don't deserve. And it was just when I realized I could come to God that way, when I realized how much had been done for me, it just changed that whole self-righteous attitude too, because it was I'm in the same boat with everyone else. We all have to come to God on those terms, on the terms of, I have nothing to offer, but what you're offering is amazing. And so it just, for the first time, I was able to realize that, God welcomes me into his family. In Ephesians 1, it uses the word adopted to describe how we are towards God, that he adopts us into his family. And so I realized that I had become, I'm actually God's daughter. I'm not his employee. I don't have to work for his approval, but I get it because he just loves me and I'm part of his family. And so I guess, yeah, I'm not a perfect daughter, but any good parent, he loves me regardless of whether or not I'm doing everything right or not, and he's my father. So I'm Andrea, and that's my before and after.